Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope everyone is doing really well in their lives. And today we will be discussing the second chapter, the book work of second chapter, that is the art of Muslim women entrepreneurship. So the first question is about oral communication, and it is a group discussion, and the topic is discuss the topic entrepreneurial motivation. What do you understand from entrepreneurial motivation? Why have you started your business at first place? What is your the motivation behind that? And the second one is role models in business. You are supposed to talk on any one of the given topics. So the role model means the successful entrepreneurs you know in your life. So I have written down Nimra Ahmed and Tareem Ranja are role models in business for me. So your teacher will guide you how you are going to talk about this topic, and it's a complete discussion between whole class. The second one is role playing. In this is quite an interesting one. This part you are supposed to take up different entrepreneur roles. For instance, you have some online business in your role play, and then you will act accordingly. So the task is take up different entrepreneur roles with the guidance of teacher and practice effective communication in business context. Again, this will help you to improve your speaking skills and discuss and choose scenarios for the particular role you choose. The third one is interview activity. Again, this is still an oral activity. Conduct a mock interview of a successful businesswoman. Mock means it's like fake, not original, but near to original kind of interview you will conduct. And again, one of the students will become a successful business entrepreneur, and he or she tells the weaknesses and strengths of the business. The next part is about vocabulary and grammar. In this part, they have given the concept of hyphen. Um, Federal Board has recommended two books. The first one is Kentab's book, and the other one is NBF books. I have looked both books, and the thing is, I have felt that NBF has not properly worked, and they have not properly worked on their books. This is why I did not like the way they have just throw away the concepts in quite an unorganized way. On the other hand, Cantab's variant is bit of organized one, and they have introduced multiple concepts. And inshallah, after this chapter, we will be shifting on Cantab's book. Um, and when we get this book, I will cover it too as well. So they have introduced the concept of hyphen. Hyphen is the concept, and a concept that comes under punctuation. In order to understand hyphen, you need to understand whole punctuation, rules of capitalization, where to put full stop, where to put comma, where to put inverted commas, and so far and so on. But again, you need to understand here the concept of hyphen. Hyphen is a word that used to connect two words, and that two words give meaning in togetherness. Use hyphens in writing as compound nouns, verb, and adjectives. For example, not so pretty, run down, editor in chief, up to date, bell like 51, anti nuclear. So these words are not giving meaning in separation. For example, not is not used here as a separate word. So is not used here as a separate word. Not so pretty is used as a single word, which means the person who is not pretty or ugly. You can say that. Now they have given us exercise. In this exercise, you are supposed to identify whether the following sentences require hyphens or not. If they do, place the hyphens in the correct position. I have filled it for you. I have solved it for you. The first one is she is a well known. Well means a state of being healthy, and known means to know something. So, well known in together means famous. So there we are supposed to put hyphen. She is a well-known author. The second is the 2 years old toddler is very energetic. Now we are not supposed to put here 2 year, we are not supposed to put hyphen in this sentence. The third one is his computer skills are top notch. Now, top notch is again used for skilled or quite extraordinary, and a top is a different thing, and notch is a different thing, and together it conveys the complete meaning. I bought a brand new car yesterday. Brand, you all know about branding. Branding is a separate thing, new is a separate thing. Together, it adds in the meaning of this car, and hence here working as an as a compound adjective. Moving towards the last one, the restaurant offers gluten-free options. Again, we are supposed to put hyphen and gluten-free. The second exercise is fill in the blanks with the correct hyphenated nouns or adjectives. So the first one is the storefront was decorated for the holy day season. Again, the storefront, store is a different thing and front is a different thing. I have combined these two words with the help of hyphen. Then in the second example, my storybook life is full of childhood memories. You can simply say that my storybook is full of childhood memories. It is fine. My storybook life is full of childhood memories. It's also fine. We attended a 1 day conference on technology. Again, one is separate thing, day is separate thing. Together, it conveys a separate meaning. She is a well known writer known for her suspense novels. Again, we have discussed it. The school organized a 3 day event for charity. This is about how to put hyphens. Moving towards the next part, it is bit obscure part. I feel like they have not given proper thought to this question, and they have just pasted it down from somewhere without reading it out, without considering it out. As you see, complete each sentence with the correct word ending in OUGH from the given options. Now they have given options in only this one. They have not given proper options in the later variants, and there are questions in which there no OUGH word has been fettered. Let's discuss. The first one is the weather outside is very dash today. Rough, tough. So for weather we use the word rough. The weather outside is very rough today. Rough could mean maybe it's extreme cold or it's extreme hot weather. So for that we have used rough. Moving towards the next one, I can't believe you ate the whole pizza. You have a big enough. So enough seems well here. It fits well here. So I have just marked tick here. The next one is the boat sails smoothly through the dash water. Pluff is a thing that is used for farming. So it will not set here properly. And rough means the waves are very high kind of thing. So the boat smoothly sailed smoothly through the rough is ending on UGH. This is why I have written it down. The next one is we will need to work through this problem together. Through is fine here. And last one is he's trying to dash the difficult maths equation. Bow do not fit here, and there is no as such word that is fit that could fit here. If we write it in a way he's trying to solve the difficult, instead of difficult we can write tough here. Just let me write it. Instead of difficult we can write here tough, even you can say. But according to my understanding, no word would sit here. If you want to put any word here, it could be he's trying to solve the tough math equation. This is about this question. Let's move towards the next one. The next one is again about hyphens, and you are supposed to put hyphenated phrases. Create hyphenated phrasing using the word high in different contexts. For example, high pitched. High pitched means the one who has very loud voice. The second one is high leveled. High leveled means the mountain is quite high. It's quite big. The next one is high performance. A high performance school. Here, high performance means well performance, best performance. A high intensity jump. It means the jump of with great speed or pressure. High water here means the waves of water that are coming above from the sea surface. And the last one is high five. High five means showing your palm or the whole hand to other person. So we have see how high is used in different context in this sentence, in this exercise. Moving towards the next exercise, it is again a kind of a repetition of the previous exercise. First one is that she is a woman of 20 years old. We do not put hyphen when the adjective phrase comes after noun. This is why we have not put hyphen in the first example. The project, they lived in a small sized house. Now house is noun and small sized both are adjectives. This is why we have put here hyphen. Moving towards the third example, the project requires a lot of time consuming research. Time consuming is adjective and research is noun, therefore we have put here hyphen. Same goes with part time and full time, and in last one, late evening. Moving towards the next exercise, what do you understand from the denotative meaning? Let me write here. Here it is written already. Let me highlight here it. So its definition you find in the dictionary. Denotative means any word, you find the meaning of that particular word in dictionary. On the other hand, connotative means emotional attachment with something. Okay. So, in the upcoming exercises, we will be discussing denotative and connotative meanings of the words. Look at the first one. They have said identify connotative and denotative meanings. For each word, identify whether it has connotative or denotative meaning. So I have tried to write down both meanings. The first one is snake. Snake is an animal. It is denotative meaning. On the other hand, you all say we are living with snakes. You say this to your friends. So this means the person who cheats. Home, again, place to live is a denotative meaning. Heaven is home is heaven. You all know. You all say this is connotative meaning. Mansion, again, place to live. It's the connotative of this word is it represents luxury. Social palace, mansion means palace. It reflects social status, luxury. Slim means smart. Smart is its denotative meaning, and healthy physique could be connotative meaning. Skinny again weak, and is connotative denotative meaning, and ugly physique is denotative meaning. House, place to live, and comfort, again place to live as denotative meaning. You find this word and the meaning of this word in dictionary, and comfort is again linked with connotation, emotional attachment, bonding. Cottage, small place to live, but the connotative meaning of cottage is traveling. It suggests traveling. It's basically a house in woods. Childish, childlike, immaturity. Childlike, again child, innocence, houseful, having no space. These are words in which I have tried to given the concept of connotative and denotative meaning. Connotative meanings means the meanings, emotional meaning, and dictionary meaning. Moving towards the next question, connotative versus denotative sentence creation. Now they have given you certain words. You are supposed to make sentences in which you are going to highlight the connotative and denotative meaning of the given words. Look at the first one, fire. Fire means burning. If we say that the house caught fire, it is denotative meaning. On the other hand, you say if you use fire in terms of hate, you can say he's spreading fire with his words. You clearly understand connotative meaning and denotative meaning. So you're supposed to, I have written down the meanings. You're supposed to write down the sentences of each word. Moving towards next exercise, this is choosing word tone. Word tone means there are sometimes the words are positive and sometimes the words are negative. For example, if there is a word um, inexpensive, inexpensive conveys positive connotation and positive tone. Let me write here. It suggests positive tone. On the other hand, the negative tone of this word is cheap. Negative tone. Moving towards the next question, again it's related to denotations, and other question is again about denotations. The next question is about literary devices. What are literary devices? Literary devices are used to beautify the text. The beautify means to enhance the text, to catch the let me write here. To beautify text, to enhance the meaning, and to catch the attention of audience. So, what are literary devices? Literary devices are the devices that we do not use in their actual meaning but use to beautify text, to enhance the meaning, and to catch the attention of audience. The first one here they have discussed is euphemism. What is euphemism? Euphemism is basically a word that is used in order to convey the polite meaning. For example, it's a mild or, let me highlight it, mild or indirect way of expression. For example, instead of saying died, we say somebody has passed away. Let me explain it from here. Let's look here. What is euphemism? Euphemism is a mild or indirect word or expression used in place of harsh or blunt expression that might be embarrassing or unpleasant. For example, he is quite energetic. This energetic is euphemism. Instead of saying that the child is hyperactive or it is quite naughty, we have used the positive term for it, that is energetic. Let's look at the second one. Eliza Doolittle was economically disadvantaged. Instead of saying that she is poor, this is basically a character. I have forgotten the name of drama. Um, it's, I guess, drama of Burton Russell. No, not Burton Russell. I have forgotten the name of writer, but it's present in English literature. So instead of saying that Eliza Doolittle was poor, we have used a economically disadvantaged, which is example of euphemism. And the third example is I am under the weather. Instead of saying that I am sick, I said I am under the weather. These kind of expressions are called euphemism, to communicate in an indirect way in order not to hurt the feeling of the listener. So, your home task is you are going to bring three examples of euphemism and use them in sentences. And you are going to tell me the examples of euphemism in the comment box. Moving towards the next one, the next is again oxymoron. Let's look here first. What is oxymoron? It's combination of opposite words. For example, deafening silence. Deafening is the sound that deafens your ears, and silence is again the completely opposite. Alone, together. Alone is the state of being in isolation, and together means to be in state of gathering or having gathering. Definitely, maybe. Definitely shows surety, and maybe is you are confused. So these are oxymorons. Let's look here again. What are oxymorons? Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which two contradictory means two opposite words. contradictory with opposite meanings are combined. Examples: deafening silence, as I have already discussed it. The other one is organized chaos. You all know chaos means mess in organization, and organized means again organized. So, organized chaos, two different words, two contradictory words, opposite words have been combined. And the last one is sweet sorrow. Again, your home task is to bring examples of oxymoron and use them in sentences. Let's move toward let's move toward the next question. I hope you have understood the terms and literary devices. The first one is euphemism and other one is oxymoron. Moving towards next example, they have given this analyzing nuances. Nuances means differences. So they have given the words of same to certain extent same meaning, and they ask us to find out nuance, to find out the difference. The first one is furious. Furious means anger. Might still be somewhat controlled. It is controlled, but enraged suggests a more intense level of anger than furious. Now, the first example is mother was furious on Ali because he was not preparing his homework. It furious means you got angry because of some reason. On the other hand, enraged means it's quite intense level of anger, and you do not want to quit that anger. For example, people across the world are enraged on Israeli occupation and the crimes they have committed in Gaza. You all know about Gaza war and how Israel have been continuously bombing Gaza and Palestine since October 7, 2023. So you can say now the people are enraged. They are boycotting them. They are not following their trends. They're not going to their food brands and so forth and so on. Now, slim versus slender. Slim focuses on lack of excess bulk. On the other hand, slender focuses on delicacy and elegance. For instance, slim, the company needs a slim employee to manage the archive. Slim also means smart. And slender means professor ended in the room with slender and graceful figure. The graceful figure that catches the attention comes under slender. Moving towards polite and courteous. Polite is basic level of good manners, following social etiquettes. On the other hand, courteous, more elaborate and thoughtful in one's manner, showing genuine respect and consideration. Polite. The cashier offered a polite smile as she handed me my receipt. And courteous means the gentleman held the door open for the elderly woman. Again, you have understood polite is a moment thing. You do polite with someone by smiling or by giving them way, or um, by telling them about something. On the other hand, courteous is a genuine respect, genuine courtesy which you show in all the situations. Moving towards the next sentence, it's sincere versus genuine. Sincere means focuses on the honesty of one feelings or intention. Genuine means focuses on authenticity of the whole person or things. For example, first one is sincere. Ali sincerely apologized for not showing up in time. Now this person Ali is feeling guilty, is honestly feeling having intentions of apology. On the other hand, genuine means authenticity, that offers you the quality product. For example, Hawk is a genuine brand, it's not creating replicas. Hawk is a shoe brand, you say it is genuine brand. Even you can say there are other brands, for example, TCS is a genuine brand. You can see Tehzeeb is a genuine brand. They're not copying anyone. In this comes under genuineness. I hope things are clear so far. They have touched upon bit on personification. Let me highlight it for you, but we will discuss it later. What is personification? Basically, personification means attributing human qualities to non-living, non-human things. Attributing human qualities to non-human, non-humans, you can say it like. Okay. And synonym versus nuances, again, we have already discussed it. This is basically figure of speech, the dance of contradiction. They said gentle thunderstorm. You all know thunderstorms are not gentle. So gentle thunderstorm is an example of euphemism. Let me write here euphemism. Charming in its decay. Decay is um, being old, being ugly, and charming is its opposite. Laughter echoed like a melancholic melody. Melancholic means being sad. Being sad and laughter are opposites. This is example of oxymoron. Roses with thorns. Again, roses with thorns. Again, as sharp as a mother's love. This is example of simile. They have used multiple figure of speech in this one. Uncomfortable truths in the gentlest way. This is euphemism. They have written down this whole paragraph in order to give you understanding of the concept. Gentle thunderstorm on a sunny day, I have already discussed it. Later, they have discussed the following words are euphemism or oxymoron or some other parts of speech. So the creative part is your home task is to write a success story of a role model following the graphic organization mentioned above. You are supposed to write these things. You are supposed to write introduction of a person, early life and background, and this way you will write down the success story of your role model. My role model is Namra Ahmed, and I will try to write it down for you guys as well in order to give you an example. This is all about the bookwork of this chapter. I hope you have understood it. If you do not understand anything, I'm just a comment away. Comment me, and I will try to help you with that. Signing off. Take very good care of yourself. Take very good care of your dear ones, and keep praying for our country. Keep praying for the Muslims of Gaza, for the Muslims of Palestine. May Allah help us all in these tough times, in these high times. That is all about this lecture. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.